More and more people are talking about the rise of the robot economy. Computers and robots generally are able to do more and more things, from self-driving cars to software applications that diagnose diseases or even check legal documents. And the question is, what does this all mean for the humans who currently do those jobs? People are asking, what are we all going to do in the future? How's the economy going to work? Today, we're publishing a book called Our Work Here Is Done, Visions of a Robot Economy, asking the questions about what the economy and society will look like when robots and automation are able to do wonderful things that they can't now. We're taking perspectives from not just economists and technologists, but philosophers, historians, and the world of science fiction.
We're suspicious of technology because it's just in our human nature to be suspicious of any change. As human beings, we crave constant stability, and innovation and technology means change. And sometimes our physiology hasn't caught up with the rate of change that we're surrounded with. So we cling for a sort of nostalgic version of the past, even when it's not necessarily good for us.
When you have a really transformative new technology, potentially like driverless cars or something of that nature, then to really maximize the benefits that we get from that, society has to transform itself. It has to mold itself to this technology's demands. And the process of doing that can often involve quite a lot of societal strain, quite a lot of pain, and quite a lot of tumult. And so I sort of speculate that based on this kind of pattern in history, we can actually look around and see the extent to which society is feeling these strains and use that as a measure of the potential of the technological change that we see around us.
Well, I think it's really positive because a lot of the things that humans have historically done have been quite kind of boring and not particularly good uses of their minds.
The jobs of the future might be very different. It's very hard to predict what jobs will exist. Caring jobs will feature very largely in the workplaces of the future. But they won't be caring jobs as we now think of them, which is mainly to do with people looking after people's physical needs. Interesting combination of the creative, the social, and the technical. This is a wonderful opportunity. We can eliminate drudge work and free humans to spend their time interacting with each other, caring for each other, and creating clever and beautiful things to brighten up people's lives.
The kind of big area where robots are destined, I think, or at least argued they're going to help us, are in service robots. So service robots are robots that work with humans or for humans, but crucially in everyday human environments, or in environments where robots and humans kind of cohabit. So we're not able to go into these kind of environments and say, we're going to control everything. We're going to put everything in the same place every time. We're going to put everything in my house in the same place, everything in a hospital, everything in a warehouse. We just don't have that opportunity. So we need a way of robots coping with the uncertainty, with the variability, with the dynamics of change that is naturally present in human everyday environments. And that's where the kind of the next steps that we're working towards are. How can we get robots to understand the space they're in? And that will be the kind of the subsequent level, I think, of where robots will appear in our economy.
In the ancient and medieval periods, the idea of a robot could be anything from a mechanical timekeeper to a mechanized fountain. So I actually think of them as a much more capacious category than objects that simply augment or replace human labor.
We only think of robots as something that comes with modernity. Then we are losing this incredibly rich and important history that these objects have, and a way of thinking about them and actually thinking about how we understand technology.
You know, technological advance appears as continuous. Up. That's what the usual view is. But in fact, technological progress occurs in successive surges of transformation, successive surges of development. They last about 40 to 60 years, and they're driven by successive technological revolutions.
Just a very quick example of the idea of social robotics, looking very much at how we might interact with robots. It's you'll be looking at things like if I take a glass or a bottle of beer and I pick someone. There was a very complex interaction took place there. We made eye contact. I looked down at the glass, you looked at the glass. I offered it, and at the same time, in perfect coordination, I released my grasp as you grasp the bottle. Researchers have been trying to do this for many, many years. It's super complicated.
So we build robot hands. Why do we build robot hands? We sat down and we looked and we said, where can you use robot hands? You can put them in research, you can use them for bomb disposal, you can put them in maintenance presence. We can hold things. We can hold things really well. That turns out to be an absolutely amazing challenge to hold something. You were saying earlier, hand a bottle of beer to a robot, that's really difficult.
We seem to be having a bit of a crisis of self-definition as humans. What are we? When so many pieces of scientific and technological research seem to be undermining those things which we always thought made us uniquely human. And in a way that presents robots as something of a portmanteau word. Not robots in the strictly modern sense of the word, but in a way this is really an exhibition which is about the anthropomorphism of machines. How do we relate to them? What is our interaction with those things?
Try to build systems that learn. I think our fundamental methodology is that, and belief is that robots can do whatever they want one day, but in order to be intelligent, they have to do it better the next day.
We are showing today is a smart wheelchair with sensors around, so that makes sure that the wheelchair cannot crash into any obstacle. Even if you give the signal to go, the wheelchair will override it and will stop it.
Perception is incredibly difficult, especially speech recognition with children is really difficult, and how to maintain engagement over a long-term period, like novelty effect, and keep the children motivated to interact with the robot for a long time.
We've done long-range navigation using stereo cameras on top of our robot. So we've got, here is Rimmer. They're named after Red Dwarf characters, all of our robots are. He drove 5 kilometers in a day, completely autonomously. He had a very low resolution map of the area. And then we just said, go to this point a long way away, and he did it all by himself. He avoided boulders. He didn't quite go the way we told him to, but he made it all the way through and got there within half a meter.
I would like you to join me in thanking our fantastic authors and speakers.